Hello, hello, my beautiful people. We are so excited. It is here. It's happening. A MicroSummit, Body, Mind, and Soul MicroSummit. And we are back with another amazing and such a hot topic. It is hot because we all know that menopause is in everybody's minds, especially women. Either you preparing for it or either you just thought you got away from it or you are in the midst of it. We all are going through this sooner or later. It's not if, it's when. So I'm super, super excited to have you all over here. Let's welcome, first of all, to my beautiful co-hosts, Michelle and Lorna. Hello, my beautiful ladies. I am so excited to be here. And of course,
Good
we have
morning.
beautiful, amazing women that are here with their amazing stories and also knowledge. I will gonna let each one of you to introduce each other in a short time, but welcome everyone for being here to our Body, Mind, and Soul Micro Summit. We'll talk all about the many facets of menopause, peri, post, into it. It's gonna be so much fun. So we are super excited to be here in this space because this space is all about connection. It's about meaningful conversation, and it's about learning from each other and also learning from this incredible provider circle members and beautiful guest speakers that we have today. So today this panel is going to go around we're going to go around the table with some amazing questions and discussions. Also, you watching this, if you watch this live, I'm going to check right away with the comments. Please let us know where you're tuning from. Let us know where you're tuning from, where you are. If you have any questions, this is your time to answer all the questions you have. And of course, we're going to address these questions to our beautiful speakers today. And also, I have a surprise for all of you. If you are here watching this, we have a big surprise for all of you. We want to offer you the opportunity to not just watch this, but in later after the live stream is ending, we're gonna offer you to join us into the Zoom so you can be in the same room, virtual, but in the same room with our amazing speakers. And now you're going to have the opportunity to dive even deeper with them. We're going to do some breakout rooms. We're going to have so much fun. This is our gift from us to you. So we're super excited to have this opportunity, but you have to stay until the end. You have to stay until the end and participate and comment. I know we are bragging you. We brag you, but it's gonna be really good for you. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm gonna pass it on to Michelle, so she's gonna help us to do the first round of introductions, and then we'll move on with all the amazing questions and the panel speakers. Michelle?
Awesome. Well, we're so excited you guys are here, really. And we're going to do this in a couple of rounds. We're going to do sort of a lightning round, 3 rounds of 3 different questions going to each of our panelists. But first, let's just have each of you share your name, your name, title, location, why you're excited to be here today. We're so excited to have you. Maybe let's start with Juli, actually.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Juli Madacey. I am a menopause coaching specialist, master health coach, holistic health practitioner, and personal trainer. And I am joining from Northern Italy. And I'm really excited to be here because, let's face it, this is a conversation that needs to happen. It needs to happen more frequently. It needs to happen more openly, because menopause in most people's minds needs to change. This is an amazing life stage that's an opportunity to live unapologetically and be exactly who we want to be and live out your badassery, as we say. And it doesn't need to be hidden anymore. And you don't need to suffer through it, because there are lots of things you can do to support your health and make it a journey that's doesn't make you suffer. Just put it that way. That's all.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited that you're here, Juli. Thank you so much for being here. Lindsey, let's go to you. Where you are, what you do, and why you're excited to be here today.
Hi, I'm Lindsey, and I am located in Colorado in the United States, and I am a menopause nutrition coach. I'm a functional nutritionist and a certified health coach. And I work one-on-one with women doing high touch coaching. So to help them transform from where they are now to really where they want to be. I'm excited to be a part of this because my purpose in life is to help women overcome their health struggles and get them to meet out their health goals and guide them through that. So thank you for having me.
Oh, so excited. Thank you for being here, Lindsey. Melanie, let's hear about you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melanie Vanhawk, and I'm a holistic health practitioner. I just graduated with my master's in holistic health from Quantum University in Hawaii. And I love to work with menopause in particular because the average woman suffers 7 years from symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. And that just isn't right. There is no need for any of the suffering. And so I'm here to change that.
Oh my gosh, what a set of resource people we have here today, including our own very lovely Lorna Gale, who is going to be acting today as a speaker because she brings another special aspect to this. Lorna, would you please introduce yourself and tell us why you're excited to talk about menopause today?
Absolutely. Thank you. So good to be here, both as our team of a Body, Mind, and Soul Connections group, and also to join this amazing panel of speakers that we have. I'm a sex and spirit alchemist of the feminine-led life, a somatic sexologist, an energy healer, and a story unweaver. So I really support women. While women come to me of all ages, from 18 up to into their 80s, the majority of women who come to me are in their 40s, that time of shifting things and really coming home to themselves. And I support them in reclaiming their power, their sexuality, and their leadership. And their leadership begins with themselves. So it's this journey of coming back home to themselves and looking at menopause as a portal to bring them back home to themselves and live from that place from the inside out. And I'm thrilled to be here, to be able to be, because as Juli said, not only menopause is a part that we don't talk about, our sex and our sexuality is something that we don't often talk about as well. And it's time. We're ready.
Amazing. Oh, this is going to be I got goosebumps already. It's going to be good. Okay, so we're going to do a lightning round of the first question, which, really just to set the stage of, because menopause looks different for every woman. How do you personally define or describe this transition? And I'm feeling actually to start with Lindsey. Lindsey, would you mind kind of being thrown under the bus first?
Yeah. So menopause to me is the decline of the endocrine system and kind of the symphony of the endocrine organs. So the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the thyroid, the ovaries, and the adrenals. And so the reason it looks so different for each woman is because those organ systems affect a lot of different areas of our body, our brain, our muscles, how we feel each day. And depending on a woman's background and their stress levels or maybe health history, menopause can come out in different ways. So some women deal with really heavy, like that dark side of menopause, depression, anxiety, stress. And other women will deal with, a lot of physical symptoms like hot flashes and, that fatigue, that really draining fatigue. And then to go on that spiritual side, it's just that flatness that women get where it's like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? I kind of feel terrible every day. Some women can deal with all of these symptoms or a piece of them, but I think depending on the state of our endocrine system, what our hormone history looks like, what our health history looks like, it can be presented in different ways for different women. And I think that's important to know because each woman experiences it a little bit different.
Awesome. All right. And I'm sorry, I forgot my timer. I'm going to give you guys, if there's anything else you wanted to add, I'm going to make these 3-minute clips just to kind of keep us on track. But if there's anything else you wanted to say, I didn't need to put the timer up there and distract you. And personally, how is your personal journey? Where are you if you don't mind? Well, we're all sharing all sorts of stuff here, but people really love to hear your own story, right?
Yeah, well, my personal story is I come from a complex background of health diseases and disorders, including hormone imbalance and autoimmune conditions and tick-borne illnesses. But once I actually overcame that, I started early onset menopause in my mid-30s. And that was really a tough time for me because none of my peers were going through it and none of my doctors believed that that's what was happening to me. And so it is important to me to serve women in that place to say that you have validation and emotions are messengers, those feelings are messengers, and women know themselves better than any doctor, than any other person. And so that journey has really led me into working more closely with women in the menopause transition from even pre-menopause, right, in that late reproductive years to post-menopause and everything in between, and giving women validation on their feelings because they're real. And there are a ton of things that we can do. We don't have to be miserable or choose one. There's only one option. I think that's often out there, HRT or nothing. And so, yeah, that's kind of a small piece of my journey, just going through it myself and now being in those later stages of menopause. I think it's helpful to relate to women on that level.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. That early onset, am I going crazy? Is it not? Is it not? And it was really, really relatable. Thank you so much. Melanie, how do you describe menopause what's your experience of the transition been?
Yes, I'm dropping into the comments now 3-quiz questionnaire that you can complete to see whether or not you are potentially into perimenopause period. Once you are in menopause, you are not going to have any doubt that you are. And so there are multiple symptoms. For me, how it started was summer of 2021. I had my period for about 12 days and saw the doctor the first time, and they said, oh, just wait, it'll pass. It's just irregular period. And then I consulted again at 30 days and I got the same answer. And it took actually 8 weeks for them to react and do something. By then I was very anemic. I was very tired all the time. I had lost a lot of weight. It was just a real issue for myself, particularly in the summertime when I'm always in the ocean, going to the lake. So I really want to avoid that for women out there that are watching. The perimenopause period is anywhere between 35 and 55. And for some people, it can start even earlier than that. But yes, taking this 3-question quiz is going to be super easy for, am I perimenopausal? And that's going to kind of lead you to where you need to go from there. But the bigger message, the most important message that I want to carry forward is that once you are in perimenopause or menopause, you don't need to suffer. It is not a rite of passage. You do not have to be a woman of a certain age. You can actually just find yourself, heal, and not go through any of that. There is no need for any of it. And so that is what I teach. And I'm going to put the link to my bootcamp in the comments again, so you can just come on in and join me.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's really helpful, the quiz. And we're going to also make sure that everybody, if, in the VIP session, if you'd like to connect with Melanie or Lindsey or Juli or Lorna, we're going to have, and you stay to the end watching, we're going to drop you the links. You can come in and ask your questions to these guys live in a Zoom room privately in a little breakout session 1-to-1. So stay to the end and watch for that link. We're going to have a great time there. Juli, how do you define menopause and what's been your journey?
Well, the menopause, I think getting a common definition is difficult because a lot of women don't even understand what it means. So around 40 is an average age to start into perimenopause. Some women start in their mid to late 30s. It just depends on a number of different factors. Menopause itself is actually one day. It's the 365th day you go without a menstrual cycle, and suddenly, woohoo, ovaries, you're in retirement now. And everything until the day you die is post-menopause. And it breaks my heart to hear women say, oh, I'm through that already. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Because once we pass the menopause day, that's when the health risks start to increase at an alarming rate if we're not taking care of ourselves. Now, I have lived with chronic pain since I was 19. In my 30s, I was diagnosed with PCOS. In my 40s, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And then at 50, I hit the menopause day. And nobody prepared me for it. I was gaslit by the doctors. I had no idea what was happening to my body. And I just decided that I'm going to do everything in my power to help other women not have to go through that. Because as Melanie said, and as Lindsey said, it's unnecessary. But there are over 100 different known symptoms of menopause. Every woman experiences it differently depending on her health status and her genetics and her lifestyle and how she manages stress and all of these different factors. And so there are ways to navigate it by controlling the parts of our lives that we can control and taking care of ourselves and in a supportive way. So yeah, I love this topic because it really, we can shape our future. We don't have to let it happen to us. In tribal cultures, in South American tribal cultures, women in menopause are revered. They become tribal elders for their wisdom. It's like a rite of passage. Whereas here we have this unrealistic gold standard of youth. I mean, I'm 61, I'm postmenopause. I don't intend to slow down anytime soon. There's too much life to live. So I think it's an important piece of our journey, and women need to understand it better. Because when I hit menopause, I thought, what? That's for old women. I'm not ready yet. I didn't know anything. So
Right?
we need to
Well,
educate ourselves and other people.
so excited to have all of you here. That we really got the cross section, and I want to complete that cross section by moving to Lorna. We've talked about nutrition and physical and even spiritual, even cultural aspects of menopause. Lorna, can you tell us from your perspective as a somatic sexologist about menopause and how you see it?
For sure. Thank you. So oftentimes there's this idea of, we think about the menopause is to do with the period, our menses, and then all of a sudden go through menopause, and that's not going to happen. And so it's an interesting thing to be able to look at our connection to our own body, our own awareness of our own rhythms of our body, that connection to not only our reproductive aspect of things, but also our sexuality. And I find that certainly women in their 40s, around that time, people start to, as has been mentioned, that they start to have like, why am I here? What's my purpose? So it starts to be this awakening to things. And at this time, not always, but for some, it's this time where the children, if there are children in the home, that they are starting to leave or be more independent. So the woman is in this aspect of, who am I as a sexual erotic being even? And certainly that was my own experience, very disconnected from my own sexuality as a growing up, married early, and even, out of rhythm with my own, like, when's my period coming? Oh, I don't know, count the days type thing, but not really in tune with it. And I would say probably until my late 30s, and started to use a menstrual cup. And then I remember at the age of 46, I remember, I had actually a thyroid out, half of my thyroid out. And I got a couple of hot flashes from that as things were stabilizing after the surgery. That was my only experience ever. And I'm now 63, and 2 weeks, or pardon me, a month after that surgery, I had the opportunity to have a hysterectomy because I had big, huge blood clots, heavy flow and stuff like that. And so I remember having the opportunity to have a hysterectomy. And I know that people will say, well, why? And what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I remember hearing this voice saying, you do not have a womb. You are the womb of creation. So I think that in many ways for me was to really sink into that bigger picture of who we are, and to see that connection to our reproductive system is so much a connection to who we are. And I actually had just that the uterus was removed, but I still have had my ovaries. So for this last 16 years, every month I would smell the blood, but I thought that was the blood I was smelling, realizing I was smelling the hormones. So every month I've been able to know when I'm in my cycle, being in tune with it. And I would say it's only been in this last 6 months where it's been 3 or 4 months now since I've had that. So I'm staying in tune with it. I think that's a big part of it, is staying in touch with our aliveness to our body, our sexual interest, and to know that this journey of coming back into we're letting go of what we think other people think we should do, who we should be, and truly being ourselves.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, that actually leads us to the next round of questions. And I think that we hesitate to talk about, you know, our we hesitate to talk about our sexuality generally, but especially like as an old woman. I don't know if you've seen this new term. Well, it seems like it's new to me, as a cougar puberty, right? Like where this transition has occurred, and like what, like you're coming into what though, right? Like, and it's hard to talk about. So like why, the question here is that I'm going to get posed to you each, and we'll start again with Lindsey. Why do you believe our society struggles to talk openly about perimenopause and menopause? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a bit of a complex question. I want to say that a lot of it is a gap in knowledge with providers and clinical research. I don't think we have the body of evidence that we would like as practitioners. And even the new evidence that we do have is not disseminated well with providers that women traditionally seek up front, which is MDs or DOs or even integrative specialists. And so I think that is one thing. And then I also think it's a gap in knowledge on women's end, because historically our parents or family members haven't wanted to talk about what they've gone through. It's been taboo to talk about women's health. And so women don't know, like when I was starting perimenopause, what the heck is going on with me? Am I having reoccurring health issues? Like, I had someone say to me, "You're going through a midlife crisis," and I thought, "Well, so what if I am? What's wrong with that?" I didn't really have a lot of tools, and I wasn't allowed to be seen and have those feelings without being judged. And I think that that's a big issue for us. How do we get information to providers, understanding women's health on a deeper level, getting more research done in this area so we have a little bit more to grab from as providers instead of overlaying health information that we know into women's health. I think a lot of people do that, a lot of providers. And some providers are just, they know nothing. They're afraid to even talk about it. So they're not allowing women to have a voice in this space. So we have to find our own way through this, I think, as usual, and find our journey through this and support women and let women know this is what's going on. This is what it might look like for you. And like Melanie said, providing quizzes for women and information, and then really grabbing onto the clinical trials that we do have so we can support in a really healthy way. So I think that's a really good start. And then I think shedding off that layer as we go through menopause, I think anyone who starts it, we get to shed what no longer serves us. So being able to shed off shame or shoulds and all the things about menopause. And I think we're coming into that now, allowing women to have a voice in it and say, yeah, I am going through it. It's not just hot flashes. So many men I know will say that, oh, she's, you're like fanning yourself. Oh, menopause, but it's like, well, it's a little bit bigger than just hot flashes. So yeah, opening up for discussions like this can be really helpful.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I hear you on the lack of information, and so that's why really we wanted to have this session and be able to pick all your brains, and we encourage everybody to put their questions in the chat. Our lovely guests will be in there and answering questions afterwards as well. And if you stay to the end, we're going to let you come in as our gift to you today into the VIP session where you get to speak with them individually if you like. So I actually feel the move to go to Juli. Oh, there we go. There's the end of it. Sorry, I gotta get that app thing figured out. Just a second here. La 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 la. Timer, where are you? I am going to go to Juli and ask you the same question. Why is it so dang hard for people? Like, do we not want to hear it? What, is it just that thing about it being taboo? Is it lack of information? What do you think people struggle?
I think it's a combination of all of those things. You know, we were never allowed to talk about anything down there. I mean, we have to come up with little pet names for our privates because it's an uncomfortable topic. We can't talk about pooping. You know, we can't talk about these things in public for whatever reason. We're, you know, so strict on those uncomfortable things. But we all have bodies and they all have bodily functions. What Lindsey said, you know, our doctors just aren't educated, and women's health research has only been happening for a little over 30 years. I mean, let that sink in. When you think about how long medical research has been going on, women's health specifically. So all of the medications, formulations, dosages, recommendations are all made as if we're small men, and we are not even close. We have a completely different makeup. And menopause actually affects 100% of the population because 50% of the population are women. If you've had or ever had functioning ovaries, you're going to go through menopause. If you haven't had and have never had functioning ovaries, you're going to be related to or associated with or know someone who's going to go through menopause. It affects our relationships. It affects our communities. It affects our quality of life. And I think a lot of women, because we've taken on these I have to do it all attitudes and roles, it's easy for us to stay hidden and ignore our own needs so that we get so out of tune with our bodies. We don't even understand when these things are happening or what's happening with our bodies. So we choose to ignore it, shove it to the back. I don't have time for this until it becomes a problem and we have no choice. And that is as much a societal thing and a cultural thing, you know, as anything else. And for some reason, there's a lot of shame and guilt around saying, I need something, I need support, asking for help. We're embarrassed to say, I can't do it all. Even though that's completely normal, we wouldn't expect that of anyone else. So why can't we give that same grace to ourselves? It's part of our culture. I read an interesting research study by the British Menopause Society that said 20% of women feel adequately informed about menopause and what's going to happen. You know, we have courses in school for the talk when we go through puberty, all kinds of support for child rearing years and childbearing and birthing classes and even child raising your children. I don't have kids, sorry. But we get nothing. It's absolute silence when it comes to menopause. So it's societal, it's cultural, you know, and some of it we bring on ourselves because we won't just advocate for ourselves.
Right. And it's like crickets, you know, when it gets to that point, and you'd think it would be in everybody's self-interest, because like you say, if you aren't one, you were at least born to one that has going to go through menopause. I mean, you didn't get here except for through a mother. So like you're going to want to know what she's going through, even if it's just to know what the heck's going on, right? Like if your wife or, you know, like it's in everyone's interest to know more. And I don't know, you know, as I'm actually a biologist by formal training, and you know, watershed sciences and ecological function, and it's interesting to me the ecological function of menopause is, you know, like removing us from that reproductive pool, but then we turn into other types of nurturing and you know, care, and that connection, intergenerational connection between grandmothers and children, right? There's a whole piece, and maybe we'll come back to that, but because I don't want to get off. But Melanie, I would love to hear why you think we, you know, talking openly about, you know, menopause, post is so hard.
Well, I appreciate everybody's answer so far, and I think that you're on the target. But what it comes down to is because it's women's studies. Women's studies do not have any funding or any interest from a scientist perspective. When the scientific world wanted to change erectile dysfunction, they got $1 billion to create a pill within 5 days of the start of the studies. I'm sorry, within a year of the start of the study. And that was the most money ever raised for a pill to cure erectile dysfunction. And I say cure because I have an opinion on that as well. But when it comes to women's studies, there is no funding, there is no interest, and that has to do with the lack of advocacy for our own health but it also has to do with the idea of this is normal. This is part of the human experience. And none of that is true. And so you do have to advocate for your own health. You do have to do the research and the studies. And unfortunately, if men were going through menopause, they would last about 5 minutes before a cure was discovered. And so that's what it comes down to, is that it's a woman's experience. In today's world, there's still tons of healthcare that do not cover women's health as a benefit. You know, the world we live in is unfair, and particularly from a health experience. And so discovering your own path to what is going to work for you is essential. And discussing it with others, that has to do with the guilt and the shame of the symptoms. You know, one of my most severe symptoms after my 8-week period was that I had a very chapped external vaginal wall. Like, it was like having chapped lips. You know, when you have it on your face, it hurts. You can imagine how much it hurt in that area. And going pee was a horrible experience. And so then it was like, doctors say, well, just put Vaseline on it. No, that is not going to work. And unfortunately, it led to health issues that are now permanent because the vaginal wall is so thin now. And so it's about the shame and the guilt. Like, oh gosh, I don't want to talk about this. And that is our own, definitely our own issue, and we have to open up about it. But from a healthcare perspective, women's studies is not of interest. There is no funding. It's always been like that. And unless people change at the higher up levels, that is not going to change. And I wouldn't want to blame the doctors. I mean, at least half of them are female and they experience it as well. It's the whole system. It's not just doctors. The doctors are doing a really good job in my eyes.
Yeah, thanks. And oh, sorry, this little sound's going off there. That's a really interesting point that you bring up about the priority of funding and healthcare, because it's almost like, and it is a very emotional transition for us personally, and we do need to advocate for ourselves. And then it's sort of like also this cultural write-off, like where women aren't useful anymore when they're past childbearing years, like that there's, we need to know how to make them birth properly, right? Like, so we need to know how to, keep them healthy and that sort of thing. It's interesting to see how and as we move through it, I feel like you're also going through sort of often empty nesting with kids going out of the house, and reflection, and Lorna mentioned earlier on who you are and what your purpose is, and the whole transition is sort of a psychological, physical, and emotional one. And it's really interesting to hear what culture we're sitting in, what hard information and biological situation we're sitting in, and what the priority is, right? Lorna, one of those taboo kind of questions I want to ask you, and want to know why you think society struggles with, is that, like, from a woman's perspective, from sexuality perspective, why do we shy away from talking about sexuality in our elder years? Like, how about that? Like, it's the old grandma, like, tame it down, right? You see the purple hat ladies. Tell us a little bit more about why you think society struggles with that aspect.
Well, certainly, as Lindsey, Juli, and Melanie have all mentioned, and Michelle, you mentioned as well, that aspect of, and I see Adriana cheering as well, as that whole aspect of the taboo things. Certainly, sexuality in its very nature is seen to be taboo, and I look at it from the lens of a mirror. I'll start with a mirror story in a merry-go-round. The aspect of the story of things is like, there's so much power in women's sexuality. There's so much power in women being empowered, being in touch with, literally and physically, in touch with their bodies, and to be connected with their bodies. That power that they harness as the universe itself, if you will. And so in the story is, how do we take this amazing power of life itself and hide it, put it around in a place of shame, and cover it up and make sure it's, you know, not seen and valued for what it is. So in many ways, I see what's happening in our world of women, their voice is coming. It's an awakening. It's an awakening to women, to their own power individually. It's an awakening culturally. It's an awakening at the whole humanity life level. And as women reawaken to the power of who we are, then it really is a shift in all of society. And so it's in this mirror aspect, we've been living the opposite, where we have, you know, this, where the women and the feminine is somehow less than or down, and the male, the masculine is up. It's kind of like, oh, there's the mirror. And the mirror always shows us the opposite. And so as things are writing and things are, the idea and topics of sexuality are coming out of the closet, where yes, grandmas have sex, you know, where there can be this whole freedom of things, like the reproductive piece is now not there. It's kind of like, wow. And there's been so much shame around it and such conflictedness within our bodies. It's not okay to sell sex, but sex sells, you know, promoting things. The very parts of our body, this very body that births life, the breasts, the whole genitals, all of those places that at one point are sexual, but as soon as the mothering happens, there becomes this, how do I take these parts that were sexual and now they're nurturing children? How do they take these parts that where those pleasure parts are now have birthed? And there's this whole idea about the sexuality and motherhood. It seems to be conflicted within. So all of these things are coming forward as we start to say, my body is my body. There is no separation between motherhood and sexuality. It's all a part of who we are. And even as women, as they start to reclaim their power and their sexuality, that even the whole aspect, even beyond the hormonal piece, is when women can really start to reclaim their power, their sexuality, and their leadership of their own bodies, that even that moistness, that dry vaginal thing, that even can go away because the women are reclaiming themselves. They have that power to say yes or no to themselves, let alone to other people.
Amazing. Woo! So much juicy stuff here. Oh my gosh. How to pick what I want to just lead into what one thing, and maybe Lorna, on that, I'm going to actually start again with you. What one thing do you wish more people understood about menopause? And then we'll go around and ask the other ladies as well.
That each person's experience is going to be unique, and it's going to be an opportunity, in addition to the nutrition, the hormonal aspect of things, to be able to allow it to be this season, this portal of really coming home to themselves, where we've been taught to, you know, be for everybody else, you know, whether it's culturally authority for the man, all of those things for our children. It's this journey of coming back home to ourselves and to live from the inside out.
Amazing. Well, as you were talking, I was thinking, you know, like we have our monthly cycles and then we have our life cycle. And that as a biologist, I think a lot about, you know, insects going from eggs to larvae to, you know, the middle thing and then the butterfly, right? And that this is just another step in a female's life cycle. And yeah, so Lindsey, what do you think is the most important thing that people really, you wish people more understood about menopause?
I would say that there is a lot that you can do. I think a lot of women feel that they just have to shut up and put up through this time in their life. Some women also feel that HRT is their only answer, and there's only about less than 5% of women who are on HRT, and statistically we know 60% of women don't actually want to do that. Although I think it can be a great tool, it leaves a big gap for, well, if that's what's being said, this is what you should do, and you don't want to do that, then you're stuck suffering. And that's really not true. There's a ton of tools in the toolbox. And I love what Lorna said, is this is a time where we get to really rediscover ourselves and shed what no longer serves us. And statistically, it's also shown that when women go through this time, they start new careers. They get rid of things in their life that they don't enjoy anymore. You know, so many things that we don't talk about is all the great stuff that happens during perimenopause, that we don't have to show up and serve other people that we don't want to anymore. We can let all of that stuff go. And by serving ourselves a little bit more, doing more self-care, we actually end up helping the people around us because we're less resentful, we're less moody. And I always like to say, make your yeses and your no's during perimenopause. And this is going to open up a big world for you on the direction that you get to go and how you want to, as I say, reclaim the pause, reclaim this time in your life.
Amazed by, are you looking in my window? Like, that's woo, mic drop. Thank you, Lindsey. I can't even without how true that is. Like, yes, and no is a complete sentence. Juli, what's one thing you wish people understood?
I wish people understood that this is anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 of your lifespan as a woman. So we need to not treat it like a diagnosis, because it isn't a disease. This is life. And you were talking about life stage. If you had somebody tell you, what do you want to do for 1/3 to 1/2 of your life that's going to be meaningful? Well, this is it, baby. You know? So I like to say it's the time, you know, like everyone else has been saying, it's a time of reinvention. It's a time of rediscovery. It's a time to take back what's ours and set those boundaries and turn off your give a damn meter and do what serves you best. Because, you know, the phrases you hear over and over, you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, don't worry about filling your cup. Wait until your cup is overflowing into the saucer, because then you can give and give to others in a much better way. And as Lindsey said, you won't be resentful about it. And it'll come from such a good, whole, healed, good energy place that people are going to just want that. And it brings more meaning to your life when you can do that first. But yeah, I mean, this is such a huge chunk of our lives that I don't think we're taking it as seriously as we need to, because we think it's just, I need to get over it. But
right. It's just,
yeah.
it's a thing to get past a barrier that's, you know,
Yeah.
that one 365th day, and then you're good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Melanie, I would love to hear from your deep experience about what's been missing, what that people need to know.
Yeah, well, what I wish people understood more is that there are alternative products that can help you go through menopause in a way that's non-pharmaceutical. As you all mentioned, this is part of life. This is a process that every one of us will go through and that you can thrive in. $17 billion is spent annually on menopause products, and most of them don't work. Women have been marketed to for a century now, and we're really good at buying everything that we're marketed to. I mean, I know I buy all kinds of stuff on Instagram. Finally, my daughter's like, okay, you need to delete Instagram because you keep buying stuff that doesn't work. So
TikTok shop is hot. Yeah.
Yes, I know what you're going through. But you know, when you are actually not feeling well, like 70% of women that get new prescription for antidepressants between the age of 35 and 45 are actually in perimenopause, which has nothing to do with depression. And so consuming the wrong goods and the wrong prescription at the wrong time will only lead you deeper and deeper into the hole. And so I do want to encourage women to look at a holistic method that is cost-free, that is going to help you nurture and take care of your body in a way that is not materialistic, like breath work, like neuroplasticity, like hypnotherapy, to release what is not serving you anymore. I'm actually going to put in the comments right now a guide for eating your way to a better perimenopause and menopause period. And so eating foods that are very rich in estrogen and ensuring that your digestive system can actually absorb that food without buying thousands of dollars of supplements, just eating really good food is going to make a huge difference. So that's what I wish people knew.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And you know what? We haven't heard from Adriana in quite some time. Adriana?
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. I'm like, good moms are flying here. And I'm like, I'm flying between, I want to listen 100%. I am taking notes for me selfishly. I'm just saying. And also I am excited for all the fun stuff that you and all the amazing things you guys, each one of you share. I am so excited because I am going through all of this as we speak. I've been battling with my own personal struggles. I lost a lot of hair. Like things are happening that I'm like, what is happening with my body? It's like I lost control over it. And of course, like you guys were mentioning, I went to the doctors, and the doctor says like, no, you fine. They did the blood work, and he said the blood work said you look fine. I'm like, but I'm not fine. I know my body. This is not fine. But the doctor says I'm fine. So then of course you start thinking that it's all about you. It's in your head. So I'm super excited about this. I wanted to check on quickly to see we have a couple of people joining us. Rosa was saying, she's like, yeah, they actually make us feel like this is a disease. It's so true. It's so true. And I love that all of you are talking about the idea that we need to make this unnormal or taboo to make it to a reality. And this is part of what it's happening here. So I love Deborah. She said, thank you for posting the list of the foods rich in estrogen, Melanie. So thank you. People are receiving your guys' tools and tricks and tips and all the good information. Thank you so much. I don't see yet a question, but I said.
And don't forget that if you stay to the end, you can ask those questions live one-to-one to each of our, to Juli, Lorna, Melanie, Lindsey. We'll have come into the Zoom room with us. We'll drop the link at the end just before our VIP session, and then you can connect with them, and we'll have a private, not live stream chat amongst our providers there. But if it's okay, I wanted to shift gears slightly into how this connects to the business side of wellness and our provider circle. And our amazing speakers, what Lorna and Adriana and I wanted to do with Body, Mind, and Soul is make it more than networking. It's collaborative, intentional space where you get to show up, seen, and be supported. And we're really excited to have all of these amazing providers in our Facebook group where you can, ask and questions and post comments, and we're here to support them as well as providers, and we're going to be inviting them and all the other people in our provider business circle, so if to support them with marketing and other speaking training and other types of business supports that you need. So just if you're interested and you're listening as a provider and you'd like opportunities like this to come on MicroSummits and be featured in our Wellness Connection portal subscription group, where if you subscribe, you can go in and ask your question, have providers answer them immediately and connect with them rather than waiting for a doctor's appointment for 8 months. You're welcome to do that. So that was sort of concludes our lightning round, and we're going to start sort of now with our panel discussion. I'm going to toss it back over to Adriana, and if you've got questions, make sure you put them in the chat, and we're going to sort of open it up and ask general questions for each of you to kind of popcorn response to the general question.
Definitely. I'm like I said, I'm selfish, so I'm gonna be part of a participant too. So I'm gonna ask my questions. And I know some of my questions are not just mine, are a lot of people that are in this and they're going through. So I have one question that has been sitting on my mind, and as I'm trying to change and look from a different perspectives. I love perspectives, so I'm like, I want to put my the view of this beautiful transformation that's happening with us as women as we going through life is to change the perspective. So I want to ask you, as we all know that, and we spoke about the menopause is a lot of people think is the end. Like once you go to menopause, that's it. You as a woman, you're done, you're ending, you're goodbye. But what happens if we call it is actually a beginning? So I'd like to ask each one of you how you learn everything you have learned about menopause and you lived it through your own experience, whatever is peri, post, in it, or whatever stage you are, how this beautiful transformation, let's call it, this new beginning actually impacted you and redefine you as a woman and as a human being. And I would like to start with Melanie.
I keep muting myself. Sorry. What has redefined me? You know, I actually experienced my menopause and perimenopause before I studied holistic medicine. And so my experience was very medical based. And I do sometimes wish I had a bit of a time machine so I could go back and change my personal experience. But I think it's pretty clear the experience that I'm on and the path that I'm on going forward is to help others to have a different type of experience. You know, it's funny because in the comments I could see, oh, just say no to drugs. But that's not really my message. And I hope that I'm not being misunderstood. I am very much in believe, I'm a big believer that it is important that medicine has its place in women's studies, as well as holistic medicine, as well as other practice out there. And so you can never say no to anything, but you have to find the path that's going to work for you and that's going to help you the most. And so for me, that's been a combination of nutrition, combination of a lot of breath work and meditation. That's helped me a lot with the hot flashes, a lot of neuroplasticity when it comes to brain fog, or I'm too old for this and that. That never comes out of my mouth anymore, or my mind. Actually, I should say, it never comes out of my inner voice anymore. And yeah, so that's been my experience, and that's what I want to share with the world, and that's what I'm here for.
Yes, really love that. I love the sharing of how he's impacting us, because we are here to help, support, and impact all the other beautiful women. But it's always, I always believe this, to being relatable, like to relate with the other person, is to share how he impacted us. And when I hear other women's stories, it gives me the opportunity and the hope, and I'm like, I can do that. If she did it, I can do it too. If they can go through this and they are on the other side, why not I can do it? So I give myself permission to do that. So thank you so much, Melanie. Let's go to Juli.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was one who dropped the just say no to drugs comment. And for me, I do believe that medications have their place, but I don't think it should ever be the first stop. I think it should be appropriately used when it's really necessary. And there are so many things we can do first. And when I spent 25 plus years in a corporate HR role, and when it was my time to transition to menopause, through my menopause day, we had actually just moved to Italy. So I was living in a new country for 3 months when that all started to hit me. And I realized that I'd spent so much of my life doing what I thought I was supposed to do, that it was time for me to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, and if I wanted to grow up, and what I was going to do to enjoy this next phase of my life. So that's when I completely switched gears. I was already certified as a holistic health practitioner, but I did it as a hobby. And then I realized that that's where my real passion was. So I was able to jump in with both feet and just do it. And so I got my other certifications. I did additional studies, and I continue to educate myself because the science is ever evolving. And it is unfortunate that we are not part of the conversation as much as we should be when it comes to that kind of scientific research and that kind of information. And I have become much more my own advocate, to the point where there are a couple of doctors who really don't want to see me anymore, because I won't just take the pill. I won't just go away. I insist on the test. I insist on the referral. You know, if something's going on, and I said to my doctor once, he patted me on the shoulder and said, "It's okay, honey. I'm the expert here." And I said, "I am the world expert in my body. You do not know my body. You see me for 5 minutes a couple of times in a year. I'm the world expert in my body, so I know when something's wrong." And you know, but if it's hard to have that, it's hard to have that voice with other people who are trying to tell you what it is or what's wrong. And it breaks my heart to see women seeking all of their medical advice now on social media and being sucked into these special supplements. And I've even seen earrings and bracelets that promise they'll get rid of all of your menopause symptoms if you just wear this thing. You know, it's so multifaceted, and there are so many different things we can do for ourselves. And it takes curiosity, and it takes experimentation, and it takes patience, because there's no miracle pill. There's no hack. You can't hack your biology. I'm sorry. You know, there are some things that work pretty quickly and work pretty well, but generally speaking, it takes time, and we have to tune in, and we have to pay attention, and we have to be willing to support ourselves in ways. And I think a lot of us think, oh, they're going to take away my wine. They're going to take away my chocolate. Well, we're not taking anything away. I'm a firm believer in adding in and stoking the fire, and then you can decide what serves you and what you want to get rid of. But let's add in the good stuff and not worry about giving up anything until it's properly time. So sorry, that was a bit rambling, but
I love that. I love that you literally shared with us that menopause was your new beginning. Is exactly what I was saying on the first one that we start with this question. For you was a new beginning because you moved in a new country, you started everything, and that was the catalyst, if I may say, that was the catalyst for who you are and what you're doing today and how you serve beautiful people around you. So I love that. And definitely menopause can be a new beginning. Lindsey, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so I really feel like, this transition is individual for each person. And for me, coming from a nutrition background and complex health disorders, I had thought for most of my life that getting the nutrition right was the most important thing, nutrition and movement. And if I can nail that down, then I can fix myself. And I think what having health disorders and coming into menopause, both things taught me is that that's one piece of a larger equation. Yes, we need to have really good soil. And if we don't support our body in a really healthy way, most other things we do aren't going to be as effective. But I learned in this time that emotional system regulation through, like what Melanie says, neuroplasticity or reframing, calming down stress, and really listening to my body. I feel like everything that comes out is a message. Our body's telling us something, and most women aren't listening. Most women are saying, I'm tired, I'm going to have another cup of coffee. So we're straining our adrenal glands. We're pushing through like we did in our 20s, or maybe we started to gain weight and we think, oh, I'm just going to eat more protein and less carbs. But we kind of forget the fact that carbohydrates support our adrenal glands, one of the functions of our endocrine system. And so really kind of thinking about how are all these things interplaying? Yes, food and movement's important, but when we get under stress or we feel flat or we're really moody, doing a practice that has really helped me is to say, I wonder why I'm feeling like this. I wonder why. And not judging myself for the shame of like being too tired to get out of bed, or the resentment that like now I need to cook dinner, I'm exhausted, but actually ask the question, I wonder why. And go deeper into that and face and embrace what your body is telling you. So then you can take action from a really beautiful place, not a place of, I have to figure this out right now. I have to fix myself. I have to do the next best thing, the next supplement, no, actually letting your body speak to you in a greater way. And the third way that really brought my healing in this time together for me is the spiritual aspect, which is finding greater purpose in my life, asking that big question, why am I here? What is the point of my life? And what do I want to do with this? I mean, I want to say this last a beautiful half. So reclaiming this as the beginning, not the end. This is the beginning of what I get to create coming from a really grounded place, and connecting with my higher purpose, connecting with God or the universe or whatever you believe in, and really bringing all three of those things together has been such an important part of my transition and how I help women to know that there isn't just one single answer, and it's not just that next best diet. I don't know, just what Juli said, or I forget who, maybe Melanie, whatever's out there on Instagram or whatever we're buying, it's only one piece of an equation. If we're not supporting ourselves in a greater way and really facing and embracing what's happening, and looking at it from a bigger perspective, then we're going to kind of be grumpy. Yeah, so women sometimes come to me really grumpy, and they want fixed now, and it's like, okay, we can get there, but we have to look at it in a different way. So I hope that was helpful.
Yes, 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 yes. I was cheering up like, yeah, I know what you think.
You sort of like, I feel like it's like you're squeezing you're finally, you've gone through all of the learning, you've done all the things for all the people, and it's sort of like you're getting the juice now out of it. It's like, what's the point? Okay, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I'm here for. This is what my soul's purpose is. This is why I needed all of those life lessons along the way to be able to sink into my soul's path forward. And it feels like, instead of celebrating our freedom and our actual expertise and the strength with which we can move forward, we're stuck in the this wasn't what it was, it used to be, and that's one of the things I feel passionate about. I just wanted to jump in there.
Yes. And let's hear from Lorna, how this impacted and redefined you, Lorna.
It's an interesting thing as I listen, just a heightened awareness that for me, the menopausal journey has been really that aspect of coming back home to me, in the sense of, like, I've never had a hot flash, other than when I had for my surgery, for my thyroid, when things reset. I've never had a hot flash. Sometimes I've had a heat wave. A couple of years ago, I went through a few months where there was a heat wave. I've not had the various pieces where things have gone. For me, it has been this journey of, how do I bring back home those parts of me that I gave away, that idea. And I speak often when I'm talking about this aspect of sexuality, that when we think about sex, we think about the act of sex. And I talk to it at a very much deeper level. And this aspect of the sexuality and the spirituality, where we've been taught, oh, don't combine them, it's kind of like, no, they're one and the same. And so I really approach things from a very much a spiritual perspective of things, and the story aspect. And so it's not even about being sexual with other people. It's, can we connect to ourselves, where we've been taught to look outside of ourselves, again, for partner, for permission, for authority, pleasure. We've been taught to look outside of ourselves. And I think that comes back to the first question we have of, why is it so hard to talk about this? Well, we've been taught to look outside, even the aspect of, give to others, take care of everybody first. And if there's anything left, still give it to somebody else, it's not for you. So this whole journey of coming back here, that's where I see this whole journey is about, is how do I bring back the parts where I've been taught belong to somebody else, save yourself for marriage. Oh, my body isn't mine. My sexuality isn't mine. So sure, whatever anybody does to my body is okay. It's kind of like, no, how do we bring back the many women that I work through, and often they're in this menopausal time, who have gone through sexual abuse and sexual trauma. And I think we all have in some ways, because consent has been overridden since we were a child, not just in the sexual way, but just in terms of us honoring our own bodies and going with our own rhythm and having our voice be honored. So for that, that's where I really see, for me, it's been not the physical things other than tuning into what my body is feeling, and then whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, and feeling it beyond the words. Let the words go away. And what's there? What is my body saying to me? How does that connect you? And for me, that's all a part of the sexual part of things beyond the act of sex, but that life force energy of who we are, that creative life force energy that brings us into this experience. And that's been my own journey, and it's what I teach. It's the journey I guide women through is come back home, feel. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be in your body, to be listening to your body, to feel your body, and to trust your body.
I love it. I love so much all the time hearing Lorna when she talks. I don't know about you ladies, but I feel more grounded just by listening to her. I can be very scattered, and I'm like, oh, all over the place. And when I hear her, something in me says like, okay, I feel.
And so inspiring too, like Lorna earlier mentioned about the menopause being a portal, and women being a portal, in the sense that, I'm a biologist, so I come at it from the biological function aspects of it. And it's like, okay, but when we think about also the integration of the spiritual side, our bodies literally stitch together whatever that energetic piece is into the physical flesh and bring it into the world. And when the menopause time closes, it's an interesting thing where you're no longer doing that job, but you still have your spiritual component and you still have your physical component, and acknowledging both of those is amazing. So I always get inspired when I hear Lorna too. I have to agree, Adrienne.
I have to Lorna, someone asking, Sherry's asking, Lorna, can you expand on the idea of the hot flashes versus the heat waves?
I know that of various women who, like, all of a sudden there's this, oh my goodness, where did that heat just come from? And so there's just that thing, and they're getting the fan out. And for me, the heat waves that I've experienced is just sort of there's just a gentle warming. Oh, I can feel my body warming a bit, and it's gone. So instead of this hot flash, like hot, it's just this gentle, a heat wave. It's just kind of, interesting. And then that's how I would explain it.
And also, let's ask Melanie. I know you guys were talking about you publish a book.
Lorna and I wrote a book. It was published in July. And so if you want to learn all about Lorna's journey, you can get your copy of the book. It's available on Amazon. It is a beautiful story, and I am the same as you guys. I love to hear Lorna share it because it is so beautiful and so inspiring. Thank you, Lorna.
Welcome. You're welcome.
I am excited. There's so many great resources here. There's so many great resources to have. Thank you, everyone.
And
I'd just like to just say really quickly, and I think a part of it is that, like when I went through my midlife sexual awakening, I went through, like, it was a literal instantaneous 180-degree change where I was so disconnected from my body, from who don't talk about sex, to all of a sudden life is erotic. And it became this natural thing to take my love of gift of teaching in the school system and energy work now into the sexual erotic realm to help people think. And it's just a natural thing to talk about sexuality. And I think that that's what's a difference, because as we talked about, we don't often talk about menopausal things. We don't talk about our sexuality other than, sometimes with our girlfriends or in quiet circles. And so to be able to, the gift that has come through me is to be able to have this experience where I can talk about it. Sometimes it can be like, it's refreshing to have it spoken about with such ease. And so I think that's one of the gifts that I get to bring to this world, is to say, yeah, we get to talk about it because it's a part of who we are. It's been disconnected from who we are. And again, I'm not talking about the act of sex or with somebody else. Maybe it's that solo sex. When was the last time we really took time with ourselves, all of our bodies, and connect. And so I think that that's a part of what weaves into this whole menopausal thing and the taboo even of talking about that. It's because we've not been given the space by divine design, as I say in the story of things, because hide the power. Well, the power is coming because here we are gathering and speaking about it. That power is coming out.
Yes, yes, yes. I see Melanie. You want to add something on?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that because, I always enjoy Lorna's story. It's beautiful. I feel like it's unfortunate you had to experience it that way, but I'm so glad that you're here and sharing it. I have a completely different experience where sexuality was. I grew up in a very open house where sex positivity was very active, and there was no shaming or none of that stuff, and it was all about getting to learn your body and how to use it to get pleasure and also give pleasure, but also to really understand consent, exactly like what you're talking about, the consent of all of our relationships and how it affects. But I just wanted to tie it back to menopause because for me, my personal experience is that menopause has been the heightened of my sexual adult life. It is when the libido is the highest in women. And so it's definitely an area of life that can be very fruitful in so many ways. We love those fruits.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
I really love that the discussion goes this way because there's so many. I know in my family, my mom or like the people around me, the friends I have around me that they are same age like me, like 40 plus, and all of them. And we came from, like, I personally came from Romania, so we came from a very indoctrinated culture. We don't talked about things like that. Everything was a taboo, from period to sex to anything of this, everything you never got from me, you never talked about this. So I love to have this part of the conversation too, when we are honest and say all these things, as making it, because I truly believe that us women that we're going through this is our duty and honor to be the catalyst and the courage and the hope for others that don't have yet the courage to speak about this. And if we normalize this, then we'll be able to get into more to more communities and more families and peoples where this will become a normal thing as well too. And talking about normality, uh I think, I'm not sure who mentioned, we talk about that, they celebrate puberty, they making a big fuss about when you become a woman, when your period is coming, and they teach you in school about this, and some mom talks with their daughters about this and granddaughters and so on, so they make it pretty publicly about this. But how about what will look like, and that's a question I want to ask each one of you, what will look like to celebrate menopause, not just puberty? How that will look like, and what would you like it to see it in your way, with all your knowledge and all your experience? How would you like that to look like in real life? Is that bringing it in schools or in your families? How exactly will look like? And I would like to be pretty open wide for each one to come with his own thoughts. So let's start with Lindsey.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a question I've really thought about, but I think that what I would love to see is an improvement in awareness of symptoms for women coming into perimenopause and even late stage reproduction, to understand what those shifts might be and to get ahead of them, or even to speak to women who are struggling through their life with hormone imbalance, whether that's endometriosis or PCOS or abnormal bleeding, and help women know that the sooner that they target their health, the easier menopause is actually going to be. So coming into menopause or perimenopause, when you're already in a state of disruption or even poor health, can make the transition pretty difficult. And now, because we don't have a ton, or not a ton of women are exposed to what it might look like, I think it's worse. But so I think I would love to see that we have more awareness of what symptoms will be, and then the natural things that we can do to help women through this time. So I think that that would be great. How it's disseminated, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe these conversations, working with younger women, which I think I love working with the younger demographic, but a lot of times they're not interested. They're pushing through, they're not trying to focus in that way. So
Yes, I love that's what it is. It's starting, we have to start somewhere, and having this conversation is gonna help to probably to give the hope to so many that is like these women are speaking about so freely. We know not having it any retention towards it, then we'll give the courage to others to do the same too. It's what they say, the world is changing, starting with one person, and that is with us, in our family, in our group of friends. Be the ones, be the catalysts that starting this conversation, even if everybody's gonna look at you like, like, wow, why are you saying, why are you talking about this? Let's be the ones that we start this. So thank you so much, Lindsey. Let's go to Juli.
Yeah, thanks. I think there are a number of different ways that this can happen. I think it has to be a multifaceted approach, if you will. I think doctors need to be better educated. I think we need to get away from the medical model of whatever it is, we're going to medicate it, we're going to cut it, or we're going to burn it. There are much better ways to treat our bodies. And as soon as we can open up that realm of education, then we can speak more openly about it, because there are things we can do that are within our power. I also think, as Lindsey said, families talking about it, us passing it down to our daughters and grandchildren, and being able to speak openly and freely about it, so that there is no shame in advocating for ourselves, and there is no concern about knowing that things are changing in our bodies. And I think that needs to start earlier and earlier, just like we talk about childbirth and child rearing, for new mothers, when women are starting to get into that mid-30s, because there is no test for perimenopause, because the spikes in estrogen and progesterone is going like this. So whatever you get in your blood work on a specific day shows nothing, because the next day or the next couple of days, it could be right back down through the floor. So there isn't a normal, I believe in functional blood tests. I think they do a lot more for us than standard blood tests do if we're going to look at markers in our health. I think stool tests, functional stool tests, are also a really good marker, because gut health is so critical. So teaching people how to take care of their health, not because we need them to eat more vegetables, but because we want them to feel better. We want them to live a vibrant, healthy life. I mean, chronic disease should never be at the rate that it is in our Western society. It's really quite pitiful. And you think about the quality of life that we lose by having to deal with all of these things. So I think having those conversations, so maybe starting in our families and our communities, and communities like this, and hopefully eventually spreading to the healthcare field. And those of us who are in the health field and doing other things besides medical doctoring, we can make a huge dent in that by having those conversations and educating people, because there's so much garbage. I mean, I love that people are sharing more information, but there's just so much garbage. People say, I did my research, I searched on Google. It just makes my head hurt every time I hear that, because there's going to tell you whatever your algorithm is driving, and whatever the public message is supposed to be. So we cannot rely on Dr. Google. We have to do evidence-based research, and we have to do, and the one caveat to that is that evidence-based research is really good if it's done correctly. However, none of us live in a laboratory, and none of us live in a test tube. So we also have to take the experiential research that we do as health practitioners to understand, so that we can guide people and just say, you know, these are things I've seen help other people. But as we said before, every woman's going to experience menopause differently, so it's difficult to pin down those symptoms. I mean, who knew that tinnitus was a symptom of menopause? Who knew that onset of asthma was a symptom of menopause? You know, these are things that we don't talk about because they're not common, like hot flushes and night sweats. And, you know, and Lorna, by the way, I'm a bit envious, because when I had hot flashes, I mean, I had sweat pouring down my face, my hair was wet, and I'm here in Italy in the wintertime, stripping down to a camisole top, and people are looking at me like I'm a weirdo and I've got steam coming off my body. So I had a heck of a time with it. But again, when I started into looking more into my nutrition and my movement and other lifestyle factors, the intensity of those hot flashes decreased dramatically. But yeah, I used to work for a German lady who said, "Oh, I'm having a heat wave." She was so cute. So when you said heat wave, it made me think of her. Anyway.
I thank you so much for that, Julie. When you said that, I'm like, talking about me. I'm like, I have moments when I'm like, even with my partner, in one moment I'm cold and I'm like, he needs to come beside me, and literally the next second I'm like, get away, don't touch me, don't do that. And
I just
he's
have
scratching
to
his head. He doesn't know what to do anymore.
I just have to say, there was a time when I was in the throes of this, that it was January and I left to go to the States for a month. And when I came back, my husband said, "I'm so glad you're back. The bed's been so cold."
You,
Become a
you,
heater.
you're the heater. Yes, it is, and this menopause is not just affecting women, it's affecting our partners, our relationship with our partners, is affecting our relationship with children, if we have children, because now we are like this, now we are nervous, now we are emotional, now we are good, now we are calm, now we are furious. So it's affecting every single person around us, not just us. And that's another way where we need to talk about that. Okay, let's go to Melanie.
Okay, well, I was going to answer the question, but now I feel like doing an exercise with you first, and then we'll answer the question that you actually asked. But yeah, so the exercise that I want you to try is, when you are experiencing that hot flash, instead of doing the whole "get away from me, get away from me," that is actually activating your fight or flight system, and that's going to increase the hot flash. It's going to make it bigger, longer, more common, because now you're training your body to respond that way. So instead of that, the next time you start feeling it coming on, and there's no doubt it's coming, I'm going to invite you to take a nice deep inhale, hold your breath, and exhale twice as long. So we're going to try it together right now, so you know how to do it when it happens. And so how we're going to do this is inhale on a count of 4. Hold for 4. And exhale on the count of 6. And you're going to do that a minimum of 3 times. And if you're still feeling it rise through your body, hold your breath longer. Exhale longer. And it will make a world of a difference. As far as your original question, yes, I did have a childhood that's different than everyone else in this group. And maybe everyone else, I don't know. Now I'm starting to think that of everyone else on the earth, but probably not. When I had my first period, my godmother threw a party for me. I was given red roses by everyone who attended to celebrate the fact that I was now a woman. And it is important to celebrate these milestones. And definitely, now I'm thinking I should have definitely thrown a huge party after that 8-week period. But I didn't. And so thanks for the idea. I am going to throw a party, because it is a huge change. And I am very happy to never have my period again. I do not miss it ever, never. And so, you know, there's lots of advantages. And I will throw parties, celebrate my post-menopause experience. And so thank you for that question. And I hope I answered it. I don't even remember. See, that's why I keep asking for the questions in the chat, because it's like it instantly leaves my mind. But hopefully I answered it. I don't
No, you
know.
did. We did. I think we're gonna making a movement. We're gonna start all of us making a party. Even if we do virtual parties, we're gonna we're gonna celebrate our menopause.
Awesome. Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna
a
throw
bottle of
mine too, because
champagne is in order. Yeah.
I'm close to that. So when I invite you all. We're gonna throw a party for sure. Amazing. And let's go to Lorna.
I love the idea of the celebration of it, similar to for girls entering into their cycle time. And actually, my little granddaughter, we've already, been in talk with her for when her time comes, even to be gathered with friends, when her have celebrations with her friends as well. And so I love that, and to be able to, that idea of the portal, as soon as perimenopause starts, there we go into the portal. It's starting, and that image, of the arch, right, with the arch and all the tule, the ribbons and the balloons, or whatever, to walk through this portal. I really love that celebration idea, and I come back to this idea as I've been just different thoughts as I've been listening, is that I think that the aspect of it's not handling, it's not managing, it's about how to go through menopause as wholly as possible starts from when we are long before in menopause or perimenopause. It starts when we're children. And I think it comes back to that aspect of listening to our bodies as we can support our children, listening to their bodies, that as changes starts to happen, then it can be there. And I would say that a lot of things come because it's held emotion. Like, how much are we holding emotion that shows up in our physical symptoms, hormonally, the lack of lubrication, natural lubrication. So often it shows up because there's emotion. Somebody isn't feeling safe, and whether it's working through past traumas and abuses, whether it's reclaiming our voices and our choices. I know from my own experience and what I've worked with women, it starts to shift when people really start to listen to their bodies, to know that it's not only okay to listen to our bodies, but that's where the key is, and that just let it start there, and to really support people in tuning in and feeling into, whether if it's showing up as the heat wave, if it's showing up as something, is to feel into it, because often within there's going to be an emotion attached to it. Once that's claimed, then, let the word or the description go and simply feel what's there. And I know from my own experience that all kinds of shifts happen in physical symptoms that in an instant shift when that emotion or that energy, if you will, is honored and can now transmute. So I think that I would say that that's where another way that we can support our journey through menopause is honoring what's there ready to be felt.
Yes, it says make it the normal. Make the unnormal to normal, finally. This has been so juicy and so many beautiful sharings, and I'm gonna have to rewatch this and take more notes. I already have 1 page full of notes and amazing things that I want to go over. I was looking at the comments, and then Sherry was mentioning, wouldn't be that nice if in schools we can teach not just about puberty and all the scary things that go along with. And then she was talking about it would be nice to start planting the seeds early, then that the menopause is not terrible or the end, but the beginning of freedom from the monthly cycle. So definitely is resonating with those that are watching online. So that is really good.
It occurred to me when I was listening to the talk, like as a biologist, I've been very fortunate to work in the salmon recovery field with First Nations. And much like the management of the life cycle of a salmon over time, the way that the First Nations communities respect and look up to their elders, and that they become the wisdom keepers, and frequently it's a matriarchal society, and that this menopausal passage is sort of a movement into that wisdom keeper role. And if I can answer the question about what I'd like to see, how I'd like to see menopause separated, is that that restitching together of that matriarchal led society, the female led life, as Lorna calls it, where the sisterhood of females and the community manages, just like the whole community is involved with management, from the management of the salmon beds to the distribution of the salmon, and the processing of the food and all that stuff, helping each other as women, creating that community around menopause, and everybody having their roles. And I feel like that's what this group here today is each of you have such depth of experience and deep knowledge and specific information and expertise, in each in your own unique way. And we so appreciated having you here today. I know I've learned a lot and remembered a lot and thought a lot and been inspired a lot. And I'm interested in to hear maybe from each of you. Well, firstly, from those of you watching, we'd love to hear in the comments what the top thing that you took away from today. What was it that you learned, and how did today's MicroSummit land for you? But for our speakers, I have a question. What did each of you get personally from this discussion? I would love to hear what you thought about today. So I'm going to think we're going to start with Lindsey. Lindsey, what did you get today from today's conversation?
I think what I got is that all of us providers are working in really similar ways to help women through perimenopause and the menopause transition, but we are coming at it from a little bit different angles. And I love that, because I think sometimes when something is spoken in a different way, a different person will understand it. They'll relate to it. And I really love seeing women, instead of being competitive, being complementary and really supporting each other in a bigger way. Because I think that's going to be an important conversation going forward, that women are really supporting each other during this time, and that we're seeking help through other providers. So, I don't think any of us have the answer to everything, but it's always nice to have a community to say, wow, I have this client who's dealing with this specific thing, and to maybe reach out for help, or actually say, I think this person is going to be the person that's going to help you meet your goal. And I just met her through this amazing summit, and here's her information. So, I think that uniqueness of what each of us provides is what I really took away. And I love seeing the women empowerment, that we get to really support each other in a community like this. So I hope listeners were able to get something too. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, because that's exactly why we built this thing. So that's just so exciting to hear you say that for us, because we feel like there's a provider for everyone, and everyone needs the right provider to be able to absorb, whether it's a style thing or whether it's a topical thing, or whether, like however it's delivered. So really appreciate you being here today and sharing your expertise. And I would love to hear from Juli. How did it land for you today, and what did you get personally out of the conversation?
I love this because it's nice to have the conversation. And I, even though this is the field I work in, I don't get to have the conversation with other healthcare providers and other health practitioners. And it's lovely. And like Lindsey said, we come at it from different angles. We're looking at the same end goal. And my business partner and I run a monthly membership for women. That's how we coach. And one of the things that we know is that we aren't the experts in all things. And so we have a monthly guest expert come in to speak to our members, because it's important. And we can't think about any of these things like a competition. we want to have a good referral network. We want to have collaboration with other practitioners, because it makes, not only does it make our lives more rich, but it makes our clients' lives more rich and gives them a much better likelihood of an amazing outcome. And that is what we're doing this for. So I love to have these conversations and to get to, just chat. And I love to be able to do this in an informal way, rather than listening to presentation after presentation, because it's about the conversation. We don't have to make it pretty. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty, and sometimes it's better if it isn't. That blunt be blunt, being honest, and just saying, hey, this is what it is sometimes. So I appreciate the opportunity to do that as well.
Oh, we're so excited that you were here. And yeah, it is about that, building that community, right? And just as though in those matriarchal led societies where, oh, I know she's really good at this, so I'm gonna go get and we can refer to each other and really lift each other up and start celebrating, and then collectively celebrate our individual but also collective accomplishments, right?
Well, and the one other thing I'll say to that, coaches have coaches too. I mean, it doesn't matter what we do, we also need support. And so it's lovely to expand the network in that sense as well, because it gives us that opportunity to support each other.
Oh, amazing.
I just want to say quickly, I am so excited about this because, like I said, I'm selfish and I need this. I'm going through all of this. I have a million questions, and knowing is the peace of mind, that knowing that all my questions can be answered, because I know the right people, and I know the people, the sisterhood, because everything is about the key of healing, the key of success, the key of everything, I think, is community. And I think if the world needs a change, and I think that change is community. I always says collaborations and versus competition. We compete against each other, not just us, but in general, the whole world for so long. And I think that the world is needing more collaboration, more come back to the community, the way we used to be as humans, as humanity. And that's why we're doing all of this. So I am like a kid. I'm like, I find my sisters, I find my kids to play with. So I'm super excited.
Heck of a lot harder to control a community than an individual, eh? All right, Melanie, what did you get from today's conversation?
It just fuels my fire every time I talk about what we do as a group, as a collective. It just fuels my fire to continue to spread the word, spread the message, get awareness, get people involved in creating that change. It's just such a beautiful journey. Thank you so much for allowing me to share that with all of you, and for your encouragement into my journey as well.
Your journey is amazing, and when someone follows their soul's path and really digs into what they want to do, it really contributes, and you've really contributed here today. So thank you for all of your expertise. And we're everybody can get a hold of Juli and Melanie and Lorna and Lindsey and in the chat, but also we've got our subscription wellness community provider. I'm going to go to Lorna though and ask her I'll ask you to Adriana. Lorna, what did you get out of today?
Connection, inspiration. It's been such a beautiful time of hearing and feeling the passion of each one who has shared, bringing their life experience, and has been said is, from their own way of bringing it and approaching the same topic. And I think in many ways that's where, when we talk about it, the many facets of menopause, we're each looking at things from different facets, and like a diamond, that facet is what really brings us into the center of who we are. So I love that. And has been said, this community, to be able to not only be in celebration of this portal, this time of menopause, but to be able to gather together of the people that are here, the ones who are listening, and how that ripples out to make it a different experience, so we really can be in this time of celebration and holding each other into what's next, what's ready to let go, what's next for you, how can we support you in that both as practitioners as well as women in circle and community together. So such a beautiful time. So thank you each one for what you've shared.
Awesome. It's time for Adriana. Tell us, I know you've got pages and pages of notes that you took, but can you pick one thing that was sort of a light bulb moment for you, or something that really personally resonated that you got out of today's conversation too?
Oh, yeah, there's so many amazing things from learning to listen to our bodies as something that it was a strange thing for me. I always was good of listening everybody except this myself. I always was good to follow everybody's instructions, but not mine, and I always doubt mine. And what was one of the biggest was, I think Lindsey mentioned, we said listen to your body. He said listen to what your body speaks to you. So that's a huge thing, because the change starts with you. It starts with me before anything else. And then the other big thing I just mentioned earlier is community. Community for many ways. One, in the selfish ways, because I grew up with no brother or sisters. I'm the only child. So I always want to have my own gang that actually understands me and I can speak the same language with them. And as I went through my own personal development and journey of healing from body, mind, and soul, as most of you know, that road gets lonelier and lonelier, and people think that you are lost your mind. And it's beautiful to know that there are people all over the world, like each one of you, each one of beautiful speakers today, to know that I'm not alone in this. And I'm going through this, and I'm not the only one that's going through this, from the physical point of view, from the mind point of view, from the sexual point of view, from the how our body is speaking to me, and all these things. And knowing that, just to give that peace of mind that I'm not alone in this, it makes a huge difference for me personally. And also, now that knowing what they say, whatever you know, you cannot unknow. Now that I know it and I have the resources, because my mind is going to say, yeah, but how? Yeah, but how I'm going to do this? Now I can tell my mind, don't worry. I can reach out to Juli. I can reach out to Melanie. I can reach out to Lindsey. I can reach to Lorna, to Michelle. I have so many people to reach out and ask a question and ask for their support. So my mind is at ease or about that. I know I have the resources for that. So now I don't have any excuses not to actually do the things that I need to do to take care of my body, my health, my mental, and my emotional. So those are the things that are stood out for me the most. And
It's amazing.
yeah, it really.
I mean, we've had such an amazing conversation. We're going to be starting to wrap up the free live stream, but we're going to for those of you who stayed, we are going to fulfill our promise to drop the link for the Zoom room that our speakers are in, so that you can come in, ask your private questions that aren't live streamed, and even go into a breakout session with people. So we would love for you to join us. What happens there is we do some questions and then we break out. If you want to get a ticket next month, we're going to be doing the many facets of cancer. So if you would like your ticket for a VIP session, then we'll be dropping the link to register for that one, not probably next week. Or if you're a provider who is in the area or has experience or helps people with cancer, we would love to hear from you on our speaker registration page. So we've just scratched the surface, but there's more to come. So think of this as your invitation to come deeper with us. And we're gonna go on, take a bio break here in 15 minutes. And at the top of the hour, we're gonna jump back into our Zoom. And yeah, we're gonna see you all there. We'll drop the link and then you can join us in. Adriana, did you want to say, I mean, because we're going to be closing off the live stream.
Yes.
Did you want to say any closing?
Yes, definitely. So what I want to do is, meanwhile, Michelle is going to drop the Zoom link for everyone in the chat. And at the top of the hour, you can join us back. Join us in the Zoom. We're not going to be on live anymore. You're going to see us, for those that join us, just in the private Zoom. So we are excited. So we give a quick break for everyone. But before that, I want to go like literally 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 minute to each one of you, beautiful speakers, to do what was for you? What is this? What you took personally from this for you from this conversation, and what you're gonna do with whatever you took from here in your own personal life, and how this summit helped you. I would love to hear from each one of you. Just a quick reflection over. So we're gonna let's start with Lorna.
For me, it's going to be continued implementing. When I come on and I get to hear, from everybody's experience and expertise of what they share, this aspect of, okay, be that heightened attentiveness to my gut biome, to be able to support things from that way, the breath, this aspect of looking at things, from that more nutritional perspective and to be able to support that way. So I love that it's just like it's like a buffet table here. There's so much to select from. So thank you, each one.
Amazing. Let's go to Juli.
For me personally, I think it's a great reminder, like Lorna said, to just think about what are the things that are really supporting me right now. Right now I'm in the middle of what feels like chaos. And so stress levels high. I think stress is the absolute dire enemy of women in midlife because it affects all of our systems and whether we respond, how we respond. So remembering that, and thank you, Melanie, I can do my breath work and I can take that moment and give myself permission to take that moment and focus on the things that really matter, because I think oftentimes we are our own worst clients. So like I said, coaches need coaches too. So it's just helpful to have those reminders, and I appreciate that.
Definitely we are. I can tell you for sure. I guarantee on my side, I am my worst critic and my worst client. I give all my clients the advice, and then I ask myself, wait a minute, did you do all of this? You better put them in application. So thank you for that reminder. Lindsey.
I think personally, I love this experience for the connection to the women that are here. I'm not sure who mentioned it, but we don't really get to have, as providers, I don't get to talk to a lot of other women in my field. And there's something so beautiful about that. And I love feeling supported that I'm not on an island alone. I think as a provider in this space, I have a lot of detractors about why are you doing this? And, why don't you go and get a regular job? I'm like, no, this is a really amazing space to be in. And so it's nice to know there's other women, there's lots of people in this space. And I love hearing each and every one of your individual experiences and how you bring that to work with other women. So thank you.
Thank you. And Melanie.
Wonder what a real job is. My goodness, the things we hear is crazy. Yeah, it's just super positive experience. I am going to put the link to my perimenopause menopause bootcamp in the comments. I do want to make an offer to you and to your entire communities that are going to be registering today or within the next 5 days. You'll also get a complimentary one-on-one coaching with me. And so please do look into it. And I look forward to answering all your questions and having more time one-on-one.
Amazing. All the goodies and all the amazing stuff that we can actually take action towards it, not just listen to it, not just go one way and then come the other one. Definitely we can do that.
And Adriana, we didn't even mention, and maybe after Lorna, we need to talk about the goodie bags.
Yes. Michelle, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that, so anybody, if you're registering for the next session, I forgot to tell you, when you buy a VIP ticket, all of our speakers, or many of our speakers, have provided, just as Melanie has, an offer for a session or a downloadable book or a mini course or things. And so we have Lorna, I think it's up to like $2,000 or something like that.
It's right around there. Yeah.
A goodie bag, and everybody who buys buys a VIP ticket into the future will be getting that goodie bag as it grows. And you will be being able to access that because you'll be getting a free trial of our Wellness Connection portal. So you can go in there, take advantage of all the goodies from all the speakers from all the past, and watch the videos and access people to answer your specific questions around any of your topics. So just wanted to mention that we're excited to be able to offer that, and we want to thank our speakers for contributing to that. Lorna, your last word there.
I had an opportunity to share in terms of what it was like. I want to say what an amazing experience. Thank you. Stepping more into a co-host role here. I wanted to say thank you so much to Juli and Lindsey and Melanie for being a part of this with us and what you have contributed here. I'm getting shivers as I say it, because it's not just a matter of factual information. You are bringing your heart and soul to what you do, and it just comes through. It comes through so clearly, and how you honor the whole being, the whole woman. And so I just really want to take a moment and say thank you for the light that you are in the world, the impact that you're making in women's lives, and how that ripples out. So thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much to each one of you for this beautiful conversation. We literally had such a meaningful conversation, and I hope those are watching, or if they watch now, they watch live. Yeah, please, the link for the Zoom is in the comments. We're gonna take a quick bio break, and we're gonna come back at the top of the hour, so in about 8 minutes or so. And for those that are watching this replay, we still would love to hear your comments, your takeaways if you watch this in a replay, and connect with each one of our beautiful speakers. They're going to drop their links. I know Melanie already did drop their links, and connect with each one of them. If you have any questions, I'm sure they are more than willing to answer your questions. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, my beautiful co-host, Michelle and Lorna, today for helping me to put this together and give such a beautiful space and create a space to every single one of us to learn from each other, to collaborate, to connect, and bring such a need conversation in this world, in these times. So thank you so much. Big hugs to all of you. For those that are joining the Zoom, I saw Deborah, I think she's already in the Zoom. Give us a couple of minutes with bio break, and then we'll see you back on the Zoom. Everyone else, take care of you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.